Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to jail today for a special interview. I'm with a really beautiful soul today that I really cannot wait to dive into the new project that's coming to Disney Plus June 17th. It's the Clotilda, the Return Home. I am with Tara Roberts. Tara, you may have seen on so many other different projects, but this one truly is special because if there's one thing I really learned from this is our story. And I know it is a focus of a particular family here, two families here. But the theme that comes from out of it is that this is our story. Tara, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It is such an honor to be here. So
It's an
thank
honor to be here with you. You're heaven sent. I wanted to start off by just saying like there's a lot that goes on in this hour special. I've already watched it three times because
What?
one
Really?
to prepare. I have one to prepare, one to kind of the second time I just broke. So I just I just was just on the emotional ride. And the second time I was really trying to pick up on a lot of our history that I was unaware of.
Hmm.
And for you and just knowing your body of work, once again, you step into a story that I'm sure you're just overwhelmed with emotions and you take a step back. It really does focus on the descendants and then our ancestors. I wanted to start by asking just for you emotionally, how was this journey for you? How you doing today? Just to start there to set the table.
Wow, that's a great question, a great way to start. Um, it's funny. Actually, I really like that you asked this question because I started off really wanting, I'm serving as the host of the show, and I wanted to make sure that there is room, all the focus is on the descendants and their experience. So I put myself in I'm stepping back kind of role. And then there was one moment when we were in Bonte, which is the village
Yeah.
that Cudjo Lewis, who's known as one of the last survivors of a slave ship, we're in his village, and Altavis, who's one of the descendants of Cudjo, comes over to me and she says, "We're going to his house." And I was like, because we were surrounded, like, so all the villagers of Cudjo's village, like almost 700 people, came and surrounded us and welcomed us, well, welcomed them home. And the elders were there speaking. And so Altavis comes back to me and she's like, "Oh, they're taking us to his home." And she's astonished and she's got tears coming down her face. And I was like, "Oh, great." Thinking that we're going to go to the elders' home and they're going to do some more work. And she's like, "No, Tara, they're taking us to Cudjo's house. His house still stands." And it just hit me. I was like, this is the true history of our ancestors. It is alive. It is right here. We can actually touch it. And for
Yeah.
somebody who I can't trace my people back beyond 1839, I can't get out of North Carolina. But to know that it is possible to have that story
Yeah.
and to be welcomed by these people who could be very distant from what's happening now,
Yeah.
but the embrace, like it was, I was like, oh my God, I can't, I can't
It,
see. I was crying so hard.
yeah, it was beautiful, and I again I my second watch I was just full of it because as you mentioned and even the gift of land and the celebratory aspect of it and even the idea that the particular ceremonies couldn't be done without blood relatives there, which means that they didn't forget about him, but wanted to ensure that this was done properly and correct and stay true throughout the 100 years or so that they could easily turn the page or forgotten or whatever it may be. It's just a beautiful thing up and down the board. Now, I have a really particular question. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but the special starts off in, I believe, Mobile, Alabama, right? Okay. So we see the burial landmark of Cujo there, and his name is spelled Cudjoe. No other time is his name spelled with the E at the end.
Mm.
Is this a historical error here? Is this something that the family has brought attention to? Is there means about even correcting that? Because throughout every other bit of either captions or even going back to Bonte, as you said, it is spelled Cudjo. Were you aware of this?
No, you've got some eagle eyes. You or not lying. You watched it 3 times and really saw the things. Um, I feel like I've seen the descendants spell his name in the way that it is also most popular. So I'm
Okay.
not sure about the E. That's a
Okay.
good question. I think you need to have the descendants on next and ask them that
I would
question.
love to. With every bit of tissue boxes I can grab in my reach. But beyond that though, I mean, as you very much detailed, this is a story of honor, reckoning, and healing. So there is means to celebrate here, and the community, and as you mentioned, the theme of we can always go home. A very simple message that I don't think a lot of us truly understand and grasp what that means. What does it look like? And ultimately, by watching this, what does what that feeling of returning back home? For you, I want to know what was your first introduction to the family because we jumped right into you all already being acclimated, and the fact that we've already and you being a diver is just fantastic as well too. But already getting and identifying where the Clotilda was sunk. So we're already a few pages within, but I thought it was very important to know what was your first introduction with the families and ultimately, when did this all become reality that this was the mission that needed to be done?
It's a great question too. So I met the descendants probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Just to elaborate on what you said, I've been following a group of Black scuba divers around the world as they dive for slave shipwrecks, and I've been telling stories about them.
Yeah.
And Nat Geo has been funding my work to do that. And
Excuse me if I can jump in there. You haven't just been following them. You've been in there too, just for folks to know. You know, people love to say black people don't swim, but you in the waters too. So let's make sure we got that correct here.
I feel you. I feel you. Thanks for that. Like, yes, let's pick that up. Yes. Because I did not scuba dive before this, but because I wanted to be involved in this work, I was like, oh no, we got to do this. We got to go down in that water with them. Um, so yeah, I started the work in 2018 and followed the divers to Mozambique, to South Africa, to Senegal, Costa Rica, like all over the world. And then in 2019, when I'd just gotten back from my last trip, we got word that there was a storm, the sea level or the river had dropped in Mobile, and the Clotilda was a potential possibility. So the team that I had been following, they went to Mobile to check it out. Nat Geo went, the Smithsonian, like all of these entities went down there to support and to see if they could help see if that actually was the ship. And then if it was, to start doing the documentation process. So it was around that time that I started to meet descendants from the ancestors on those ships. And I will also say this, that when I met the first group of descendants, they changed everything for me because there was a way that I was participating in this work, thinking that, oh, this is about adventure. This is about telling new stories about what Black people can do in the world. Because as you said, people
Mm,
think Black people can't swim. So to see them as divers, and I wanted to tell stories about the ships. And I wanted to tell stories about this history, which I thought was missing. And we needed to bring it back into memory.
yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about this as a story that was personal to me. And I know that that's like, duh, hello, Black girl slave shipwrecks. But I was still keeping it at a distance because I was a
Yeah.
little afraid of the pain and the trauma of the
Yeah.
past. Um, but when I met the descendants and I saw how proud they were, how confident they were, just how grounded they were in who they were, it made me want to search out my own ancestry. So I
Mm,
started doing my own genealogy work because of the folks that I met from the Clotilda. So we've been knowing each other for a minute.
I
And then
love it.
to take on this journey, which was their dream, Cudjo Lewis had always said that he wanted to go home.
Yeah,
So they finally had a way to make it happen. And Nat Geo was like, well, let us support this journey and let's take them home. And so it was an amazing experience.
that's beautiful. I have time for one question. I see. Um, this
I
was an
know
emotion.
I kept talking. So
Oh no,
sorry.
you're good. This is this is our history. We need to know, and we live in a culture where our history is always being pushed to the side or suppressed. So we need to know these things. So you talk all you have to talk besides the time that I have here. But really quickly, while this is an emotional and spiritual journey, there's so much detail. There's so much within this. I just want to know: was there any moments that truly touched you that you were not aware of from the descendants who came in completely educated in their own? But was there any other particular elements of this story that you were just completely just blown away about?
Hmm. Well, I didn't know what was happening in the village. Like they also built a bust to Cudjo in the village. I was like, wait, what? What? Because when Cudjo was captured, he was 19 years old.
Yeah,
He was not like a fully grown man. He wasn't like quote unquote important in the village. He was just a kid. Um, but because he came over and built this legacy that was able to travel back, like it was amazing to discover that his people recognized that and honored him for that. So I was really amazed about what we experienced over there. I was not expecting that. And I definitely wasn't expecting to find his house in the
yeah,
village. That was something special.
beautiful. The Clotilda, the Return Home special, 1 hour special, airing June 17th on Disney Plus. Tara, thank you so much for your time. It's been a complete honor.
Oh, no, it's been my honor. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay.